Hello, hello. Happy Thursday. It's Baby Junior Friday. Hello, hello. Welcome. Hello, hello. Okay, so welcome back. It is Thursday. We were supposed to continue reading the Bryan Kohberger book, the James Patterson book. We're on part 3, and we have just been so caught up on other Idaho 4 stuff, like the sentencing. First, it was, the whole thing about the plea deal and then the sentencing. And now we have documents that are wild. I have not read any of these. They were just released yesterday after the sentencing. The Idaho 4 sentencing, Bryan Kohberger. I'm just shook about that. I do kind of want to watch 2 of the victim impact statements over again, Olivia's and Dylan's. So we're going to watch that throughout this. There's a lot of documents, too many. We won't be able to go through them tonight. There's like files and files and files. So I'm going to get through a few tonight, and I'll just make like a part 2, part 3. Some of the I have not gone through all of them, so some of them will be basic reports, like this USB drive got handed over to this officer of this department. So we'll just skip over those, obviously. We will start with the general narrative, and we will go from there. It's 29 pages, so we can get through that pretty fast here. I read documents all the time, so I'm going to read 2 on this screen, and then we're going to hop on over to the drive, and I'll read some off of there. This was in real time, so I do have to say it was in real time. So, I know I was reading that there was some errors in some of them, like the names, it got the people mixed up. So yeah, it was in real time. We just have to remember that. I'm going to pull them up. Like I said, the first one's going to be the general narrative. Let me pull it up on the screen. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. I didn't redact it. They came this way. And it says complainant, female, homicide. So this is Mitch Nunez and Brett Payne. I'm trying to see when this was occurred 11/13/2022, the day of the crime. Oh, and this was on 11/14, I believe. Okay, so there's some subpoena involvements. Oh, here's Bryan Kohberger where they subpoenaed an offender. Hey, Ben. Hey, Shane. I wonder why some of these names are redacted. There's Mogan Madison. Senator Knoll. What is this? Why? And I'm wondering why. Involvements. Some are redacted. Okay, so then it says burglary, Hyundai Elantra. Oh, it's like a log, I think. I have not gone through all of these, so I just want to get to, wow. This is like all the stuff that I think, yeah, evidence. Black boots, wow. Tailor knife swab, dark boots, dark jackets, underwear, Target receipt, vehicle swabs, Band-Aids. It says Mary Jane right here. Marijuana. Huh. Concalvis receipts. Interview. Swabs, okay. Black plastic bags. Used Q-tips. Vehicle swabs. I don't know if this says even anything about the case. So responding officers. Interesting. There was 12 of them. This document's kind of random. Offense, homicide, synopsis, 𝐤𝐥𝐥𝐲-𝐕𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐞, Ethan Chapman, Xana Kernodle, Madison Logan were found deceased inside 1122 Keene Road. Total property, NA watch guard, additional responding officers, case number added, evidence. On 11/13/2022 at approximately 11:56 hours, Moscow Police Department officers responded to an unconscious call. The RP, later identified as Bethany, reported her roommate was passed out, not conscious and not breathing. As I was preparing to leave the station, Officer Nunez, who was already on scene, advised of a likely homicide and asked for additional units. While I was en route, Officer Nunez advised he had located 2 additional victims. The victims were later identified as 𝐤𝐥𝐥𝐲-𝐕𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐞, Ethan Chapman, Xana Kernodle, and Madison. Moscow EMS was asked to stage and not respond to the scene unless requested. Hi, Augie. Upon arrival, I saw redacted crouching near the entrance to 1122 King Road. So I'm assuming it's one of the hunters. I forget the girl's name. Is it Jasmine? I don't remember. I'm sorry. To 1122 King Road. Redacted was in obvious emotional distress. I entered through the first floor, which faces north towards the parking lot. I announced myself as a Moscow police officer, and Officer Nunez and Warner responded from upstairs. When I got to the second floor, I saw a female covered in blood in the bedroom on the northwest side of the second floor. I believe this female to be Xana. I looked inside the bedroom, and Xana was laying, and it was obvious an intense struggle had occurred. Xana was obviously deceased. There was blood smeared on various items in the room and all over the floor. Whoa. There was blood cast off on the walls in various places, including above Xana's body. Xana was on her back on the floor in the center of the room with her head towards the west. Xana was in her underwear and a long-sleeved gray shirt. Why was she in her underwear? I don't think that's something that had came out before. Remember, Olivia said, which we're going to replay the victim impact statement from her, that he was like a PDF file. Hey, Cree, good to see you, love. So did we know this? Did you guys know this? Oh my God. The underwear? Her being in her underwear? I don't remember that. And it hasn't been in the book that we're reading either. Both her shirt and underwear were covered in blood. Xana's face and body was covered in dried blood. I could see what appeared to be defensive knife wounds on Xana's hands. There was a deep gash on Xana's left hand between her pointer finger and thumb. A partially covered male was on the bed and also obviously deceased. I believe this male to be Ethan. The midsection of Ethan's body was covered with a blanket. Ethan's head wasn't visible and appeared to be between the bed and the south wall. There was some blood cast off and what appeared to be arterial blood spray above where Ethan's head was located. What? This is so wild. So yeah, trigger warning. I'm sorry, I forgot to say at the beginning, but this is crazy to be hearing about it and not actually get the actual documents. I'm shook. I proceeded upstairs to the third floor where I met Officer Nunez and Warner. Officer Nunez and Warner advised the residence was clear of any additional people. There was a dog belonging to Kaylee in the third floor west bedroom, which has access to the third floor deck. The deck has no exterior access to the ground level. I asked Corporal Snyder to cordon off the area and Officer Nunez to start identifying the subjects that were on the scene when he arrived. I asked Officer Warner to start a crime scene log at the front entrance. Once Officer Smith arrived on the scene, I asked him to stand guard at the kitchen sliding door, which I later learned was ajar upon our arrival. On the third floor, I went to the southeast bedroom where Officer Nunez and Warner advised they found two females, whom I believed to be Kaylee and Madison. Both females were obviously deceased. I observed Kaylee lying on the floor, lying on the north side of, and Madison lying on the south side of the bed with their heads towards the east. Sorry, I'm like trying to envision that in my head. Aren't you guys? This is wild. Thank you, Augie. You're the best. I observed Kaylee laying on the north side of the bed and Madison lying on the south side of the bed with their head towards the east. Kaylee and Madison were covered by a pink blanket, which was covered in blood. There was a large pool of blood near Kaylee's midsection. There was blood cast off on the east and north walls above Kaylee and Madison. Madison appeared to be laying up against Kaylee. Oh my gosh. How sad. Madison had what appeared to be wounds to her forearm and hands. Madison had a gash under her right eye, which appeared to go from the corner of her eye to her nose. Kaylee was unrecognizable as her facial structure was extremely damaged. Oh my gosh. We had heard this yesterday when we did the sentencing, but well, we didn't hear, like, I had known what happened, but how did he have time to do all of this in such like little time? I'm shook, and this is so sad. I feel so bad for her parents. Wow. Kaylee was unrecognizable and her facial structure was extremely damaged. I asked Officer Nunez to close the door to the bedroom so the dog did not try to disturb the scene. Other than that action, MPD patrol officers left the scene as it was found. I was later confirmed with Officer Nunez that no EMS personnel entered the prior to my arrival. I contacted Captain Barrett and advised him of the situation. Captain Barrett said he would activate detectives and get more resources en route. Once Detective Sergeant Lawrence arrived on scene, he requested one of the responding patrol officers begin writing a search warrant, which was assigned to Officer Nunez. Corporal Snyder was assigned to take initial photos of the scene, while Officer Smith and Warner remained as security at both entrances. I collected the dog from the third floor and took it outside. Dep Olson transported the dog to the Humane Society on my behalf. Officer Nunez was interviewing a large group of individuals which were associated with the residents. Officer Nunez asked that I finish getting contact information from the individuals. I contacted and later added the following names to this call. So Bethany, I'm trying to like decipher all these names, but I can't. I know there's an H for Hunter, maybe, all the people that were there. Once those individuals were collected, they responded to the MPD to be interviewed by detectives. Why like hide who they are? Because they don't want those people to get like shit for anything or whatever. Or like media attention to them, privacy, but like why? One of these individuals, okay. I assisted with the canvass of the area and was assigned to the southernmost apartments at redacted Queen Road. I contacted the residents following apartments whom claimed they didn't hear anything. Redacted and redacted. I attempted contact at the following apartments with no response and redacted. There's no apartment blank or blank. I remained associated with the call and assisted with the scene security until approximately 1800 hours. Other information, photos attached, which we probably won't ever see. Follow-up needed. Case status active, referred to specialty, yes, detectives. Wow. That was just one document. BK was apparently in the currency. I'm shook. I'm shook. Let me pull up the next one. Sorry guys, I'm pulling two up on my other screen, and then I'm gonna switch to the drive because they're all on there. Okay. Okay, yeah, this is a different one. I don't mean to be like unprepared. I have to, I need to go one by one. And I'm like OCD about it. Okay, let's see. Moscow Police Department. Okay. Name Corbin Smith. Initial response, scene and security 171. Additional responding officers. I always like to see the officers that are in the narrative. Okay. On 11/13/2022, at about 1200 hours, I responded. This is a different narrative from a different officer, obviously. I responded to 1122 King Road in reference to possible homicide victims. Officer Nunez had arrived on scene and found a total of 4 deceased individuals. Officer Nunez informed other units he believed this to be a homicide. When I arrived, I entered the residence and went to the second floor. I observed a female wearing a sweatshirt and underwear laying in the middle of the bedroom floor covered in blood. I observed deep lacerations indicative of defense wounds on the female's hands. The female was surrounded by blood on the floor. I observed a male laying on the bed. The male appeared to have suffered from stab wounds and a laceration to the neck. The male was covered in blood and the bedding around him was soaked in blood. In a third floor bedroom, I observed 2 females laying in bed which appeared to have been stabbed to death. The female laying on the left half of the bed, as I looked at it from the doorway, was unrecognizable. Oh my God. I'm like, imagine Kaylee's parents, like Steve, who talks so openly about, what's going on and has always shared with the media, and like his family and him have been like out there. She was unrecognizable. Her face was completely disfigured and stabbed several times. I was unable to comprehend exactly what I was looking at while trying to discern the nature of the injuries. The second female on the right half of the bed had multiple stab wounds. The comforter was soaked in blood and a pool of blood was still present. I was assigned to hold security at the rear slider door. This was the alleged point of entry of the suspect. I observed very large footprints in the snow. I used a tape measure and the shoe size measured approximately 13.5 to 14 inches. Wow. The footsteps went to and from the rear slider door. I observed the trail of footsteps ahead away from the slider, then turn right around a stump in the backyard and lead toward the front of the house. I observed a small handprints on the window to the east of the slider. The screen to this window appeared damaged and was laying on the ground. I located smudged fingerprints on the glass slider door. There was a discarded black backpack in the backyard. I photographed these items and attached them to the case. I maintained rear security until I was relieved by Officer Warner. The only person to enter from this point was Captain Lanier about 1527 hours. That was on the 13th. That's brutal. So brutal. I can't get over it. Like, what a literal monster, you guys. I'm tripping out about Bryan Kohberger. This is, let me see. Okay, this is the third supplemental report. They're all pretty short, so that's why I was like, we can get through some of these real quick. Let me pull them up. Okay, so this one is number 3. This one's from Mitch Nunez. Okay, hopefully it's not a repeat. Okay, on 11/13/2022 at approximately 11:56 hours, I responded to an unconscious subject at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. Upon my arrival, I found a large gathering of people in the parking lot immediately north of 1122 King Road residence. 1122 King Road, oh, is that too big? Sorry. Is a white 3-story single-family residence with multiple bedrooms. The 1122 designation is located directly above the front door facing north. I was directed to a bedroom on the second floor by Hunter. in the northwest corner to locate the unresponsive female. Upon entering the room, I observed a female laying supine on the floor next to a bed. According to Destiny and Redacted, or I don't know if it's Destiny, it's with the D word. Wait, is that oh my gosh, the one that just testified? Why is her name blanking on me? Dylan, Destiny. I said that last time too. I'm sorry. Well, maybe. Yeah, Dylan. According to Dylan, Redacted, this female was likely 𝐭𝐥𝐥𝐲-𝐕𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐞. Dylan also lived at 1122 King Road. Okay, yeah. I observed dried blood surrounding Kaylee's body and signs of cutting trauma to her face. Kaylee was covered in so much blood, I wasn't able to immediately discern where any additional injuries would have likely been. Kaylee was apparently deceased due to her pale skin color, rigid bony tone, and apparent blood loss. Okay, so what, like, how did he not get any, like, remember he said there was no other evidence of him. Like, how did he cut these people up? No blood everywhere. How is like no more of his DNA found everywhere else? Like, I'm just kind of shook. Cutting someone's face up like this bad, and then 4 people, I'm just like, on the bed in the same room, I observed Kaylee. I observed a male lying supine on the bed. According to Dylan, the male was likely Ethan J. Chapin. Dylan said Ethan was commonly at the residence. I observed blood covering portions of Ethan's legs surrounding his body into the bed sheets and drops of blood on the wall near Ethan's head. As I backed out of this room, Redacted showed me a kitchen knife and said he had it in his possession. I told Hunter to leave the knife and go back down the stairs to the front entrance. Officer Warner and I moved to visually clear the residence for any suspects or additional victims. On the 3rd floor, Officer Warner and I found 2 additional, apparently deceased females, both lying supine in a bed. This bedroom was on the southwest corner of the 3rd floor. According to Dylan, these 2 females were likely Xana and Madison Mogan. One female showed an apparent traumatic injury to her face due to the basic facial structure being unrecognizable. Both females showed very pale skin. Both females were covered in dried blood and apparently deceased. After the residence was deemed safe, Officer Warner and I exited the residence to secure it and the media area to include the parking lot immediately to the north of the residence. I walked outside and began interviewing Dylan. Dylan told me at approximately 0400 hours, she heard a voice scream and believed it to be Kaylee's. Dylan said she heard Kaylee scream and announced there was somebody inside the residence. Why wouldn't they call the police? Dylan said she could hear Kaylee running from the 3rd floor down the stairs to the 2nd floor into the northwest bedroom. Dylan said she locked herself in the bedroom and continued to hear commotion. Dylan said eventually she stopped hearing a struggle and heard a male voice say, "You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you." Dylan said she did not recognize the male's voice. Dylan said after a few minutes, she peeked out of her bedroom and observed a male described as approximately 6 feet tall, slim build, with a black ski mask leave on the 2nd floor patio area. This patio door was likely left open as it was found open upon my arrival. Wait, why wouldn't they do something then? I'm so confused. She heard them screaming and running. I interviewed an additional roommate, Bethany, who told me she was at the residence during the commotion. Bethany said she was on the 2nd floor in the living room watching Vampire Diaries with Dylan and an unidentified person named Redacted. Oh, okay, so they were with someone else. Redacted, Bethany said at approximately 0200 hours on 11/13/2022, Madison and Kaylee came home from a night out at the corner club bar, located at Redacted in Moscow, Idaho. Bethany said she also believed Madison and Kaylee went to the Grub Wandering Kitchen truck that was immediately located in the 300 block of South Main Street. Bethany said she and Madison let Madison's dog out Murphy sometime between 0200 hours and 0230 hours. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. Bethany said she returned inside while Madison was still outside with Murphy. I wonder if he was watching them, like, clearly, obviously, right? He was standing out there like a freak. I don't know. Like, that seems creepy. Bethany said during this time she observed no suspicious activity. She said she returned inside. Well, okay, yeah, with Murphy. Bethany said she went to the bedroom around 0230 hours. Bethany said Madison came into her bedroom sometime around 0230 hours to ask if she knew where Murphy was. Bethany said she told Madison no, and Madison left. Bethany said she woke up in her bedroom, which was located on the first floor, to a sound she described as a firecracker and a flash. Bethany said she initially thought the sound was a prank. A flash? What does she mean by that? Melly, it has to do with the fact it's sorority. That's my guess. They were told to call the presidents or whatever they're called first. It's like a rule. Yes, I have heard that. But like, you know, I don't know. You're right, Cree. I can't judge them in their position. But like, if that were me, I'm like, I ain't calling no president on a sorority, right? Like, a person in a black ski mask, unless it's Halloween, or because someone's going skiing. Oh, what was Freakazoid doing wearing it? By the way, Freakazoid is Bryan Kohberger, the wannabe. According to Bethany, well, that was according to Olivia, but let's continue. According to Bethany phone log, she showed me. According to Bethany phone log, she showed me Bethany called Xana at 0421 hours, Ethan at 0422 hours. What? 0422 hours? What is that? Like, why do they do this? Why do they do this to me? So that's like what, 4:22 a.m.? I'm struggling with the military time. At 0422 hours, which is 4 a.m., 4:22 a.m. Somebody teach me. You're like, Google that. Oh, okay. So Madison at 0430 hours and then Kaylee at 0431. Bethany said she never received an answer to each phone call. Bethany said she went back to sleep and woke up around 11:56 hours when 911 was called. Okay, so it sounds like she knew what was going down. Exactly my point. And I know I feel bad because, like, you know, when we see the victim impact statements, we're going to replay two of them in a little bit. But like, my perspective of everything changed regarding them, but then I'm like, but wait, why wait eight hours? Like, if you saw people screaming and running, she says there's someone in here, and then you see someone in a black ski mask, and then you wait 8 hours. Like, was it because they were on something and they thought that if the police showed up they would get in trouble? Like, is that what it was? So they waited? Or because I'm just really confused about that. And I'm not pointing fingers. I am like, my heart breaks for all of the victims. But I'm just like, 8 hours? That's a whole ass work day. Like an 8-hour shift. You know what I mean? Hey Tahira, hey Hossein. Yeah, that is that. Good to see you. Do not come. Yep. Hossein, you're late. Yeah. Just kidding. Good to see you. Yeah, that part is dodgy AF. 8 hours. Like, that's a whole day of me working, and all of us working if we work 8 hours. Like, you waited 8 hours to call when you saw all of that scariness, the black ski mask, the bushy eyebrows, all of it, you know, like, I don't know. Let's continue. Initially, I was told Kaylee was likely located on the second floor bedroom with Ethan. After comparing Dylan's initial statement with other investigation officers' observations, it appeared to actually be Xana that was located on the third floor of that bedroom, and Kaylee was one of the other females located in the third floor room. I also observed the following vehicles in the gravel parking lot that was immediately north of the 1122 building. Silver 2015 Land Rover. Okay, so that was Kaylee's, right? A blue Honda Civic, a white Chevy Cruze, a 2011 Jeep Wrangler, a 2017 Ford Explorer. I was originally assigned to identify all of the people in the area. However, I was reassigned by Sergeant Gunderson to begin the search warrant application process. I provided the information in the search warrant application. At approximately 16:28 hours, I returned to 1122 King Road to assist with securing the southwest patio entrance. I took responsibility from Officer Warner and documented who entered and exited the residence. I provided this documentation on a notepad and maintained the log until I was relieved by Officer Morris at approximately 17:50 hours. The following information is a rear patio entry log from 15:07 hours until 21:15 hours. So it's the people who went in and out. Okay, so that one's done. That one was Supplement Report 3. For those of you that just got here, there may have been drinking or smoking, and then you go into denial. Yeah, I get that. You guys, we just read the part where they like initially found them and how it was unrecognizable. I feel so terrible about that. I can't imagine. Yeah, but she heard scream, ski mask, and I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say, and my heart still breaks for them, but it's hard to say, like, I guess how each of us would react in that situation. They had to be on something. Yeah, I know how it is to like, oh, you're in college, you're in a sorority. You don't want people to know that, you did a little Coca-Cola or eating mushrooms or like doing something crazy. But I mean, to each their own, right? I ain't going to judge people for what they do unless you're or a PDF file. Okay, let's see. This is Ryan Snyder, Officer Ryan Snyder. Narrative. At 11:13:22 at 1200 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road for the report of an unresponsive subject. Upon my arrival, I noticed there were other college-age subjects out front of the address. I was directed to use police caution tape to cordon off the crime scene. As I was working around the residence, I noticed the back door was open and there were footprints in the snow coming from the back door on the back porch. Officer Smith took photos of these prints with a measuring tape. He watched the backyard area to make sure no one else came into the area. I noticed there are a few footprints that left toward the west of the backyard. This portion of the backyard is connected to two other residences, 1118 and 1126 King Road, both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west towards King Road between the residences, but I was unable to see where the footprints went after the yards connected due to the amount of rock landscaping. I was also unable to discern how old these prints were. There had been no recent snowfall. While Sergeant Gunderson and I entered the residence to continue taking photos of the scene, I entered through the bottom floor main door on the north side. I took photographs of the rooms and living areas of the residences. Those photos were downloaded onto a CD and booked into evidence. The photos were labeled in this report with a brief description of each photo. As I was down the road of the address near 11 King Road and Queen Road intersection, I was approached by a college-age male who identified himself as redacted. He informed me he lived at redacted King Road apartment. He stated his girlfriend. Wait, what's the name? The J name? I don't know. Wait, let me see. Why do they redact this? He stated his redacted lived upstairs at 1122 King Road and they shared a dog. Oh, it was Jack? Is that who it was? Shared a dog that was there currently. Redacted did not appear to have any obvious wounds on his hands, as I would assume the suspect possibly would. Officer Nunez was interviewing subjects about the situation. I asked Redacted if he would wait inside Officer Nunez's police car so we could talk with him. He agreed to. I informed Sergeant Gunderson of the circumstance involving Redacted. Redacted later responded to the police department to be interviewed and then picked up the dog from the Moscow Humane Society shelter. So was it Kaylee or Xana, or they had him mixed up? They had him mixed up. I'm sure they feel like shit, though. And they also said Murphy was Maddie's dog, too, so they got me all confused. It is Jack, right? I'm so bad with all these names because there's so many people, I think. I continued to canvass the area and speak with neighbors at redacted Queen Road, who stated that they did not hear or see anything relevant. I spoke with subjects at redacted King Road. One resident, redacted, stated that she was home from the corner club at 0300 hours and thought she could hear music or some type of noise, but she couldn't give any clarifying information more than that due to her level of intoxication that night. Dude, everyone was hammered. I spoke with the subjects at Redacted King Road. The majority of them stated they were out drinking at the corner club and got a ride back to their place at around 1:30 hours. And I went to sleep at 0200 hours. They did not hear anything out of the ordinary. Redacted King Road, redacted resident, stated at 0400 hours he heard a barking dog come from the east of his residence. He believed it was a dog at 1122 King Road, as he thought that was the only dog in the area. He stated the dog sounded like it was outside barking for about 45 minutes until he believed someone must have left it inside at 0:45 when it stopped. Is that the time when Bryan was there? Redacted stated he had a female with him in bed at the time who also heard the dog barking at this time. Who's the person with the B name? B stated that he had a female with him in the bed. I spoke with the residents at Redacted King Road. Redacted informed me they had a camera facing the west of the address they believed captures a portion of the road. They first provided me with the SIM card out of the camera. However, they could not get it to work, and neither could I. They gave me the username and password to the camera. I informed Detective Mowry of the information, and they gave me permission to access the camera footage and record the necessary surveillance video. I cleared the scene at about 17:49 hours. Oh, this is like the description of the photos. Photo 1, key on retaining wall on the north wall of 1122. Front address, parking lot, vehicle black Ford, parking lot. Back seat of redacted, front seat of redacted, VIN, driver's side. They basically took pictures of all the cars. First floor, front door toward west, first floor room. First floor, second floor stairs, bedroom, east side, second floor living room, the couches, second floor bathroom, west bedroom female victim, west bedroom blood on floor, west bedroom male victim, west bedroom foot of the bed, male victim, female victim, table, ID card, pong table, blood, pong table knife, couch, kitchen from living room, utility closet, ground outside kitchen window handprints, kitchen window left handprint, kitchen window right handprint, kitchen window face mark, stairwell to the third floor, bedroom foot of the bed, bathroom, third floor southeast bedroom, 2 female victims. Yeah, 2 female victims, the desk, a Subaru, a Chevy, Pontiac, Toyota, Ford, Buick. Car information, medical mask outside Redacted King Road. Okay. So that was supplemental report. Kohberger was programmed to. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of things going on with this case, and now we're seeing now we're like going back in time, like we're reading the reports, but we've already watched all this stuff and got all this. Like the trials there's no trial, so it's like now we're going back in time. It's a trip. Okay, let me pull up the next document. Oh, I think I had it up, but let me see. Okay, this one is supplemental report number 5. A Dallinger, I don't know how to say his name, that officer. His narrative is at approximately 12:53 hours, I arrived on the scene at 1122 King Road and spoke with the Sergeant Gunderson and Sergeant Lawrence. who gave me a brief overview of the information gathered at the time. Let me see. Can you see that? Okay, I'm gonna make it more bigger. Sergeant Lawrence responded to the police department to begin interviews. I remained on the scene on the perimeter awaiting further information. Approximately 1 hour later, a male approached the scene and began speaking with Sergeant Gunderson. The male was identified as Redacted. I overheard Redacted state his daughter lived in the 1122 King Road and he had been trying to get in touch with her but was unsuccessful. It was also learned Redacted's daughter was nearby the scene. I asked Redacted if he and Redacted had come to the police department to speak with me. Redacted agreed, and I returned to the police department. I contacted Sergeant Lawrence at the police department and asked if he had names of the victims. Sergeant Lawrence stated that he did and gave me the list. I saw one of the victims' names was Xana, and then I met with Redacted in the interview room of the police department lobby. Once in the room, I activated the audio and video recording equipment. I asked Redacted, it starts with a J, and Redacted for the information, and they both handed me their Arizona driver's license. After writing down their information, I asked Redacted what the name of his other daughter was. Redacted told me her name was Xana. And then I informed Redacted that Xana was identified as one of the victims and that she was deceased. Both Redacted became very upset and were heavily crying. I asked Redacted when the last time they communicated with Xana. Redacted stated that she texted with Xana on 11/11/22 at approximately 1700 hours. Redacted said the text messages were brief and were not of any substance. Redacted said he texted Xana at 11:22. I'm sorry, on 11/11 at 1540 hours, and she responded to stating she was at work. Redacted then told me she last spoke with Xana on the phone on 11/11 at approximately 2140 hours when they spoke about going to the Washington State University football game. I asked Redacted where Xana worked, and he said at the Mad Greek. I asked both Redacted and Redacted if Xana had mentioned anything about having issues with anyone or anything strange occurring lately. Both Redacted and Redacted said Xana had not said anything. Redacted said Xana had a boyfriend, Ethan Chapman, who had been dating for about 6 months or so. Redacted said everything seemed fine with the relationship, and Redacted added how he had met Ethan's parents in the past weekend. It should be noted Redacted was in town visiting as he resides in Avondale, Arizona, and it was Washington State's University Parents Weekend. I asked Redacted and Redacted if there was anyone they wished me to contact for them or if they wished to speak with anyone such as a member of the clergy, and they told me no. I gave them both my business card and informed them that our detectives would be in contact with them in the near future. Redacted and Redacted then left the police department. Video and audio recording of the interview is attached to the case. Oh, I wish we could see that. Who is Jay Redacted? Yeah, I'm not sure. I was hoping you guys knew. I thought it was, it's in the book that we're reading. I'm trying to think of who it is, but I can't. We've been reading so much. We're gonna find out. Okay, so that was report number 5. I'm not like the best with all these names in this case. At first, even the victim names kind of tripped me out. I was getting them confused, no disrespect, but I couldn't keep up for a minute. Okay, I'm going to read the next supplemental report. This is number 6. It's also just like one page. This is from Officer Aaron Morris. At around 1300 hours, I was advised by Captain Barrett to respond to work due to a homicide investigation. I was told to remain available for calls for service. At around 16:30 hours, I relieved Officer Rositsky on the north side of 1122 King Road. I was stationed for scene security and helped keep a log of who entered and exited the crime scene. Officer Smith entered at 1700 hours and exited at 1725 hours. ISP Talbot entered at 1700 hours and left at 1740 hours. Corporal Payne entered at 1700 hours. Okay. PA Jennings entered. So he's just marking whenever we want it. Officer Sturck relieved me from the north side of the residence, and I went to the south side to relieve Officer Nunez at around 1800 hours. I stood at the rear of the residence for scene security. I assisted Sergeant Blaker in putting evidence tape on the sliding glass door on the south side of the residence. The tape was to ensure no persons tried to access the scene overnight. I returned to the north side of the residence for the remainder of the night. Once ISP and investigators made their final walk through the residence, was secured at 23:44 hours. Officer Rosendahl relieved me and I cleared. That was supplement report number 6. This one is from Officer John Lawrence. I'm really excited that we got all of these documents, but they released a lot. There's a lot. We're going to get through them all, though. This one is from Officer John Lawrence. At 1200 hours, Captain Barrett called me and informed me there had been multiple victims of a homicide located in a residence on King Road and requested all available detectives. I called Detective Vargas and was informed she was out of town and would be in Moscow on Monday morning. I called Detective Mowry and he informed me he would be on his way shortly. I called ISP Lieutenant Mike Mooney and told him I need assistance from the ISP detectives in processing the crime scene. Lieutenant Mooney put me in contact with Sergeant Gilbertson. I briefed him on what I knew and he told me he would start to assemble his team. I responded to the scene where I met with Sergeant Gunderson. Sergeant Gunderson informed me that the officers were dispatched to an unconscious person at 1122 King Road, and that is when they found 4 deceased college people and people in the residence. I told Sergeant Gunderson I needed someone from his team to return to the police department to start writing an affidavit for a search warrant. Sergeant Gunderson asked Officer Nunez to handle that task. I then did a brief walkthrough of the residence. I entered the residence from the entrance on the north side of the building. Officer Warner, who was securing the scene, logged my entrance into the residence. I then went up to the stairs and located a deceased female on the floor and a male in the west bedroom on the second floor. I climbed the stairs to the third floor and located 2 deceased females in the southeast bedroom. They were both in the bed. I spoke with Officer Smith, who was securing the residence at the south entrance for a moment, and then I exited the residence to the north entrance. I called Sergeant Gunderson and informed him of the additional information provided to me and what I had seen. I told him MPD would be needing their assistance. As I told Sergeant Gilbertson, MPD had an officer writing an affidavit for a search warrant. I returned to the police department where I met Sergeant Blaker and Corporal Payne, whom I called earlier and requested they respond to the PD. At this time, Detective Mowry was at the police department. I requested they interview the other occupants of the residence where the deceased were located. There were also several friends of the deceased who had been with the deceased the night before and may have had information of their whereabouts and who they were with prior to the murders. Those interviews started at about 13:48 hours. Those to be interviewed arrived at the police department at 13:30 hours. I put them in the training room and provided them with drinks and snacks. Captain Lanier arrived and asked me how he could help. I requested he find officers that were not already tasked and complete a canvass of the neighborhood. Captain Lanier took care of the neighborhood canvassing. At about 14:23 hours, Redacted and the redacted Xana arrived at the PD. He was informed of Xana's death by Captain DeLinger. Captain Barrett informed me Ethan Chapman's family had been notified of Ethan's death. Captain Barrett asked me to take care of the death notification for Maddie and Kaylee. Captain Barrett provided me with information of the university that the university had on file for Mogan and Gonzalez. There was no emergency contact information for either, so I called Kootenai County Dispatch due to Mogan and the Gonsalves home addresses being in that county. I provided redacted the KCSO dispatcher of the addresses listed with the university for Madison and 𝐤𝐤𝐿. Redacted told me she had the names Stephen and what's her mom's name? I can't remember. I feel so bad. �ْ𝐤𝐿𝐧, who were listed as residents of the address provided for 𝐤𝐤𝐿. What's her mom's name? It's Steve and is it Christy? I believe it is. Listed as the residents. Okay, I requested death notification for them. I was contacted by Deputy Mitch Jan. He asked me what he could tell the parents, and I informed him we knew very little at the time. A short time later, Deputy Jan called me and told me when he arrived to give the notification, the parents were already aware. When he arrived to give the notification, I was also provided Madison Mogan's address, and redacted was not able to locate anyone with that name, the name Mogan, at that address. Redacted said she would send a Coeur d'Alene PD officer by the residents to make contact. A short time later, Officer Matt 𝐻𝐨 requests I call him. When I made contact with Officer 𝐻𝐨, he told me redacted and redacted of Madison Mogan were driving to Moscow. About 20 minutes after my conversation with Officer 𝐻𝐨, the redacted arrived at the PD. Captain Barrett gave the death notification, and he requested I interview them. I spoke with redacted and redacted, Steve and Christy in the lobby interview room. They told me they had a great relationship with Madison. She got along with, is that the right names? She got along with everyone. She had a strong relationship with her boyfriend. Oh, do they mean 𝐤𝐤𝐿? Remember I told you guys they made some mistakes? Unless I'm wrong. She had a strong relationship with her boyfriend, redacted, who lives in Boise, and that she had gone to Boise to see him the weekend prior. Madison and, was it Jack, had been dating for about a year and a half. And Jack is from redacted. I asked if there were problems with past boyfriends, and there was none to their knowledge. I asked if Madison had mentioned any stalking behavior from anyone or anyone that made her feel uncomfortable. I asked if Madison had mentioned, and she said she never spoke of anything. The rest of my shift was allocating resources. Okay, so that I don't believe. I know they're saying that there was no signs of like social media, Bryan being like stalking them or whatever on social media and stuff, but I don't believe that. I think he was somehow, maybe under a different profile name. But I'm like, he had to have been, right? If he was a psycho-obsessed person. Sorry, I'm not like super good with the names either. There's a lot of names that I'm not like the best with. But I try to remember all of them. I try. Don't come for me. Okay, let's see. This one is John Rosinski. I received a phone call advising me there was a quadruple homicide at 1122 King Road. I arrived to the Moscow Police Department, put on my police-issued uniform, and relieved Officer Warner at the above address, who was currently holding scene security and maintaining a log who came in and out of the apartment at the front doors, which is on the north side of the apartment. I was on the scene for about 2 hours until I was relieved by Officer Morris, who took over my duties. The following day, on 11/14/2022, I learned there was a sheath that was found inside the apartment. The sheath was tan in color and had a Marine Corps Eagle. Why is he calling it apartment? The sheath was tan in color and had a Marine Corps Eagle globe and anchor symbol on the sheath. The words USMC were located under the EGA, and K-bar was above EGA. I was tasked to follow up with businesses in town to see if the particular knife was sold there. I followed up with Tri-State Outfitters, Big Five Sporting Goods, Moscow Building Supply, Spence Hardware, and Walmart. Each of the above stores does not sell a K-bar brand knife. While at Walmart, I was speaking with a staff member, redacted, name listed on name tag, who was showing me the knives on display. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a white college male asked for a black ski mask that would cover his face. Redacted was unable to provide much detail other than he was taller and maybe he had tan skin complexion. Redacted said she was advised the male did not have any black ski mask and only camo. Oh, that they did not have any. Redacted said the male then walked away. On 11/14 at 11:45 hours, I spoke with Redacted at the Memorial Gym substation. Redacted is currently the Redacted for the fraternity. I asked Redacted if he could walk me through what he did on the night of 11/12 and the early morning of 11/13. Redacted said at about 18:30 on 11/12, he was at a party. Redacted said the party was at the Tree House, which is an off-site campus house for the sorority Redacted. Redacted did not know the specific address, but said the house is near the White's apartments. Redacted said at the party he saw Ethan. Is that Ethan? And Redacted, who was with Ethan's, maybe that's some other name. He saw Redacted, who was with Redacted's boyfriend, unknown name. Redacted said Redacted was the only member of that Redacted that he recognized at the party. Redacted said he left around 2200 hours and 2300 hours. Redacted said he went back to the party and back to Redacted and watched a movie with Redacted. He said he went to the corner club at 01:49 hours on 11/13 to pick up Redacted and Redacted. Redacted said they were alone but not with anyone. Redacted said he dropped off the three individuals off of their apartment off King Road. Redacted said after he dropped them off, he went back home. There's an N name, an R name. I wonder if that's Dylan. He picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. 7 people. Okay, let's read the next one. This one's even shorter. There's oh, can you see that? Let me start it over because it might be the wrong one. This is supplement report number 9. This is office. Wait, did we just read this one? No, we didn't. At approximately 1100 hours, I responded to 1122 King Road in regards to follow-up. I took note of who came and went from the scene. ISP detectives, as well as Sergeant Blaker, Detective Vargas, and prosecuting attorneys entered the residence. Redacted arrived shortly after with her cadaver dogs to attempt and locate a blood trail from the residence. ISP entered the residence at 11:25 hours. Detective Vargas entered at 11:26 hours and left at 12:26 hours. Sergeant Blaker entered at 11:27 hours, exited at 11:49 hours. Prosecuting attorney Ashley Jennings and William Thompson entered at 11:30 hours and left at 11:53 hours. PA Jennings re-entered at 1200 hours and Sergeant Blaker re-entered with Detective Vargas. Redacted arrived with her K9 at 13:16 hours. They all remained in the area until 14:21 hours. Everyone cleared the residence. Everyone cleared the scene and the residence was secured. I stood by the scene for security until relieved. Cadaver dogs. What a sad, sad case, man. Okay, so this one is from Jacob Testel. Let's see. This one is at about 2100 hours. I began an overtime shift for a plainclothes detail on the University of Idaho campus and related areas. This patrol was for minors and possession and consumption of alcohol, along with other alcohol and drug offenses. During this patrol, I and the other officer with me, Officer Rosendahl, only had our body-worn cameras. We were operating out of the Moscow Police Department Ford Fusion, which I drove throughout the entire detail. This particular department vehicle did not have a dash camera or any other recording device. My street time conducting the plainclothes detail concluded at 03:52 hours on November 13th. During this detail, Officer Rosendahl and I made several patrols through the area of King Road and Queen Road. During each patrol of the area, we traveled on the north side of 500 Queen Road heading east. We wrapped around the building, heading south on the east side, then west on the south side of the complex. We then traveled north on the west side and then turned west onto Queen Road and proceeded to King Street. During one of the patrols in this area, while approaching the southwest corner of 500 Queen Road, I recall seeing a darker colored vehicle with taillights on. This vehicle was parked facing the south on the south side of the parking lot towards the west end. There was a short section of the parking lot which was extended to the west of 500 Queen Road, south of 1122 King Street, which was where the vehicle was. Oh, so there's a King Street and a King Road, or did they mess up? Each time we patrolled this area, I drove the same route. During the final patrol, which was the best of my recollection, was at 0200 hours and 0300 hours on November 13th. As we traveled north on the west side of the apartment complex, I saw several individuals approaching the residence at 1122 King Street. Does he mean King Road? During this detail, I was looking for alcoholic beverages, open containers, and also individuals who appeared to be intoxicated, not toxic. I observed the individuals as I drove past, but did not see any reason to contact them for our related patrol. I recall my view of the individuals being obstructed by vehicles and brushed on the east side of the parking lot for 1122 King Street. The individuals were walking close to a vehicle which was parked on the northeast corner of the lot. As I turned onto Queen Road and traveled west, I continued to view the individuals. From my recollection, there were at least 2 individuals, possible 3. I recall one of the individuals having blonde hair. I do not recall how many individuals there were, what they were wearing, or any other details as I quickly looked for beverages in their hands and whether they were staggering from intoxication. Since we made several patrols through the area, I cannot say with 100% confidence that I saw the vehicle on the same path as I saw the individuals. Upon review of my radio history, I contacted 3 individuals at redacted Taylor Avenue at about 02:55 hours. To my best recollection, this was after exiting King Street after seeing the individuals at 1122 King Street. I'm confused if it's King Street or if there's another one. Like, why are they doing that? Let's read the next one. Is supplemental report number 11. We're just going to read a few more. There's a lot, you guys. There's a lot. So we're going to have to do separate lives for all of. There's so many documents they released. It's really wild. And I don't want to skip any of them, because I feel like we need to know all this stuff. Let's see. So this one is from Officer David Hathaway. Yeah, David Hathaway. And he got there at 22:42 hours. Dispatch advised they were forwarding a call to my cell phone. My phone briefly started ringing, but then it suddenly stopped. For some reason, the call was forwarded to voicemail before I could answer. When the voicemail came through to my phone, I learned it was from Redacted. The voicemail said, "Hey, how's it going? My name is Redacted. My phone number is Redacted. I just wanted to make a statement to you guys because I was close friends with Maddie Mogan. I was with her at the corner club most of the night, and then after we left, we wanted to go to John's Alley, and we went to stop at a grub truck. They got grub truck, then a car picked them up. They left and went home. I just wanted to make a statement, but I don't know if anything is helpful, but I was just with them like for a little bit. So if I can be any help, I would like to. Give me a call. Thank you." Shortly after I got the voicemail, Redacted called dispatch again and was successfully transferred to my phone. At about 22:46 hours, I talked to Redacted on the phone. Redacted essentially said the same thing in the voicemail he left. Redacted said he was out with Maddie at the corner club at about 02:30 hours. Redacted said several times he did not know who the other girl was with them that night. Redacted described the girls getting into a silver sedan after they got food at the grub truck. Was that their Uber, their driver? I confirmed Redacted name, date of birth, address, and phone number. I also confirmed with Redacted he drove to his parents' house at redacted in Boise. I asked him how long he planned to be at his parents' house, and he said he was skipping the next week of classes and would remain in Boise until after Thanksgiving break. Redacted said he was willing to talk to a detective about his involvement with the case. Redacted says he does not have a roommate at Queen Road apartment and that he lives alone. I recorded my conversation with my dash camera. Wow. There's all this recorded body cam footage and stuff that we don't have. Oh yeah, R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. No, I'm not laughing at that. I'm just laughing that you brought it up. Yeah, R.I.P. That is wild. I wasn't like a super big Hulk Hogan fan, but I was an Ozzy Osbourne fan. I know you guys should. I actually kind of really love Ozzy Osbourne. It's so sad. I think my favorite song from Ozzy Osbourne is Changes. Maybe Shot in the Dark. I like a lot of them. But anyways, now I'm getting distracted. Mama, I'm Coming Home is good too. Well, and of course, Crazy Train. Under the Graveyard's good too. Bark at the Moon and Mr. Crowley. So I guess, yeah, I like a lot of Ozzy songs. Okay. Anyways, back to Idaho 4. So this is supplemental report number 12 from Gunderson. This one doesn't really say. I'll just read this to you guys real quick. It's just like one sentence. I photographed the 3 dumpsters in the area. All 3 dumpsters were located on the street. I saw nothing of evidentiary value in the dumpsters. I photographed them and cleared the area. ISP later pulled the trash pursuant to this investigation. Oh, some blood was located on the 2nd floor at redacted Taylor Avenue. Redacted Taylor Avenue is commonly referred to as the Whites and is known as a party location. The blood was isolated to one area with no trail to either area. I photographed the blood and notified on-scene investigators. Officer House and I walked various areas around the crime scene looking for evidence. Officer House and I found nothing of evidentiary value. I loved Ozzy, grew up listening to him. Oh, yeah. It's so sad. Okay. I want to watch. Okay, I'm going to read supplemental report number 13, and then I want to watch. I know, don't be mad. I kind of want to replay the impact statement that Olivia 𝐤𝐥𝐲-𝐕𝐞𝐫𝐬𝐞 made. I'm sorry. I know I was saying it wrong in my life the other day. Don't come for me. I'm sorry. Okay, this is from Roger Lanier on November 15th. So this is a whole total. The other ones were all on the 13th, 14th. November 15th at 9:30 hours, myself and Detective Murray responded to the Corner Club to contact the owner. This was a pre-arrangement meeting to view video from the evening of November 12th to the early mornings of November 13th. The purpose was to confirm that Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonsalves were at the Corner Club, as had been reported, and to try to identify individuals seen on the grub truck video later that morning, specifically a male who appeared to be accompanying them. Upon arrival, Redacted already had the video up on the screen and queued to the proper time frame. Detective Murray began scrolling through the video, which consisted of multiple views and multiple screens that were all in time sync. We determined that Gonsalves and Mogen arrived at the Corner Club at 2200 hours. What time is that? 10:20 p.m. In a Prius-type vehicle with another unidentified female. The vehicle was determined to be an Uber vehicle and the driver identified. Gonsalves and Mogen mingle around the bar but spent most of their time in the front along the bar next to the left end as you face the bar. They make occasional trips to the restroom and speak to several people as they mingle. At 22 hours, Kaylee paid her bar tab using her credit card, which consisted of 9 well vodka and 2 juice. Redacted provided a copy of the receipt. 9 drinks of vodka? I'm sure that wasn't just for them because they were probably buying drinks for their friends. I'm not. Hey, William, good to see you. I don't think that's what happened. Um, Forging's good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Forging's fine. Let's continue. At approximately 0100 hours, Kaylee engages in a conversation with a subject identified by bar staff as redacted. Redacted was seen with Gonzalez and Mogan in the grub truck video later in the evening. This appeared to be a consensual conversation, and it appeared they knew each other. At approximately 014 hours, Mogan joins the conversation, and all three remain generally in the area of the bar near the wall. Nothing stood out during the time, and both appeared to know Redacted. At 0131 hours, Redacted paid his bar tab with his credit card consisting of 5 can bottle and 2 𝐞𝐥𝐥𝐲. After paying, he walked to the back of the bar, went into the restroom, came back out, retrieved his coat, and came back to an area near the exit where Gonzalez and Morgan were waiting. Redacted waited in the background while the girls were finished conversing with others when they all exited the building at 0137 hours. The parking lot camera shows them walking away together, then out of the parking lot in a westerly direction. They were all dressed the same in the grub truck video, with Redacted wearing a white or very light colored hoodie with brown coat over it. While reviewing the video, we also recognized Redacted, who was reported to be Gonzalez's ex-boyfriend. We did not track his movements in the video, but he appeared to spend most of his time at the opposite end of the business, seated with several other males. At one point, there appeared to be a brief interaction with Gonzalez that looked cordial and in passing. Redacted left at 0151 hours with 2 other males. Also noticed in the video, there was a subject seen in the grub truck video. I recognized him because of his unique sweater, long hair, and beard. He was identified as Redacted by bar staff. He checked out at 100 hours, which is I think midnight, using a credit card in the name of Redacted, showing 2 𝐼𝐸 I didn't notice any interaction between Redacted and Gonzalez and Mogan. A third subject who was seen in the grub truck video was also observed in the corner club, but were not able to identify him. He's a stocky-built white male with brown hair and facial hair, wearing a brownish sweater. I did not observe any interaction between him and Gonzalez or Mogan. Because the video file was extremely large, Detective Mari was unable to copy it to the external storage drive. We left the business, and Detective Mari is working on obtaining a usable copy of the video for closer review. Mm. Oh. Oh. You're not timed out, though. You're not. Maybe the comment was flagged, but you're not timed out, so I don't know why you can't. Forging, come back to me. Oh, yeah, I hadn't even been looking at my phone. You guys are funny. Let me see. Okay, so that was 13. The Grubhub. I don't want to go back and rewatch that video too. Okay, I'm going to read one more and then we're going to watch some of the videos. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it is. This is from Detective Vargas, Danny Vargas. Evidence collected from J. Talbot interviews with neighbors. On November 14th, 2022, I went to 1122 King Road with Sergeant Blaker to observe the scene. I walked through the house and around the outside of the residence along with their other investigators looking for possible evidence. ISP investigators were on scene walking through for a second time, looking for additional evidence. I walked around the south side of 1122 King Road, up the hill and along the fence for Redacted 𝐸𝐸. The backyard for Redacted 𝐸𝐸 backs up to the backyard of 1122 King Road. I spoke with Redacted at 𝐸𝐸 and asked for his permission to look through his backyard, which he said I could. Redacted told me he was a person who previously called dispatch to provide information about what he observed. I told Redacted after looking over the area and through the residence on King Road, I would come back and get a statement from him. I did not locate anything of interest in the backyard of Redacted 𝐸𝐸 or on the hillside between behind 1122 King Road. I walked into 1122 King Road and looked through the house with other investigators. The following 4 evidence items were collected by ISP inside 1122 King Road on November 14th, 2022, and turned over to me on scene. ISP took photos of the items and the places they were collected from. I booked the following items in the MPD evidence. A copy of the evidence property receipt relating to these items is attached. Exhibit 57, a rolled $2 bill located in the desk. Blue powder. Suspected rugs located on the desk and F2 bedroom northwest. Wait. There was rugs? I didn't know that. Well, we clearly didn't know because we just got these documents. Blood sample west wall living room. Blood sample F3. I spoke with the following people who live at 𝐷. My conversations with redacted and redacted were recorded and are attached electronically to this case. So there's some date of births. Redacted told me the following. He woke up a couple of times Saturday night. He looked at the clock, saw it was 04:17 hours, and said after 5 minutes of waking up, he heard a dog barking outside from the direction of 1122 King Road. Redacted said he was going in and out of sleep, and after an hour, around 0500 hours, he still heard the dog barking from outside the direction of 1122 King Road. Redacted said his bedroom is on the far northeast side of 𝐷 and is closest to the backyard of 1122 King Road. Redacted said there's a motion light outside of the window and said if it turned on, he would have noticed it. Redacted told me he lived in the residence since January and he's not heard the dog barking outside before in the middle of the night. The dog was barking when Bryan was there. I'll fix it for Jean in a second. I next spoke with Redacted. Redacted told me on the 13th he woke up around 02:30 hours and left the house around 300 hours. Redacted said he had Redacted extended training and it lasted about 12 hours. Redacted said he finished his extended training around 1800 hours at Buffalo Wild Wings and arrived home at 1830 hours. Redacted said he was up with approximately 20 fraternity members and did not notice anyone who should have been there that was not there. Redacted did not remember hearing anything in particular when he woke up or left at around 02:30 hours and 0300 hours. Redacted did not hear the dog barking. I next spoke with Redacted, who told me he did not hear a dog barking at any point. Redacted said he had been out at the bars the evening of the 12th and got home around 02:30 hours. Redacted said he sleeps with earplugs in. Redacted said his sister, Redacted, mentioned she saw Mogan at some point at the corner club. Redacted provided me with his sister's number. Moscow is a haunted city. Now it is for sure. That was a brutal, brutal, brutal thing that happened there. Okay, I'm going to play. We're going to watch. I'm going to watch Dylan, the surviving roommate. Her victim impact statement. And then we'll probably read like maybe 2 more docs. And then we'll continue to part 2. I'm also reading the Bryan Kohberger book, so you guys should get involved. We'll probably finish that tomorrow. But I have lives on all of them. Okay, I wanted to play this really quick before we continue reading. This is a surviving roommate. Her impact statement. These are really sad.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I feel so bad for her.
What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, 4 beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them.
This is really sad.
He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe.
Wow.
I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive?
This is so sad.
He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them. Speaking today is to help me find some sort of justice for them. And I will never let him take that from me. He may have taken so much from me, but he will never get to take my voice. He will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Dylan, thank you so much for your courage. I appreciate it.
That is
Olivia Gonsalves, Kaylee's sister.
okay. This is gonna be so good. This is Kaylee's sister. I love
Hello.
her.
I'd like to start by thanking the court for allowing me the time and opportunity to speak today. My name is Olivia, and I'm the big sister of 𝐤𝐥𝐿 Gonsalves, and I was blessed to love Madison Mogan as a sister too.
She's
I'm
so
not here
good.
today to speak in grief. I'm here to speak in truth. Because the truth is, my sister 𝐤𝐿 and her best friend Maddie were not yours to take. They were not yours to study, to stalk, or to silence. They were two pieces of a whole, the perfect yin and yang. They are everything that you loved, accepted, vibrant, accomplished, brave, and powerful. Because the truth about 𝐤𝐿 and Maddie is they would have been kind to you. If you had approached them in their everyday lives, they would have given you directions, thanked you for the compliment, or awkwardly giggled to make your own words less uncomfortable for you. In a world that rejected you, they would have shown mercy. Because the truth is, I'm angry. Every day I'm angry. At the inside of my own head, everything I wish I could say to you. The truth about me is when I heard the news, I didn't cry. I listened for them. I promised them I would, that I would fight for them, that I would show up no matter what it cost me. I swore I'd never let them feel alone. Because you see, I've always been their heavyweight. I've always been the one to fight the battles they didn't feel ready to fight themselves. All it ever took was a call, and they knew I would handle it for them, no matter the time, no matter the cost. They could wave their white flag because they knew I would never back down, not for them, and not even death could change that. Somewhere along the line, I started to think about what I would say to them if I was given just one last chance. If I could gather enough heartbreak or love or sacrifice or whatever it took to get just one message across, what would I say? Throughout this entire process, I've written my feelings down at every moment, my wishes, my love, my denial, my anger. And as one final act of love, I'd planned to read these thoughts, even jarring and discombobulating and not even making sense. Because for me, that was true love. As bare and as naked as it could be, not laced in pretty words or dressed for the occasion, but written through bleary eyes at 2 a.m. with clenched fists, angry at this reality. My true final act of love was to continue on without them, for them. That dream to read aloud my love to them, to bring meaning through pain, was the latest blow in realizing you don't deserve it. And 𝐤𝐿 and Maddie don't need it. 𝐤𝐿 and Maddie have always known my love, and they would never ask me to prove it by further victimizing myself to a defendant who has shown no guilt, no remorse, no apprehension. They would say to me, "Why would you give the satisfaction of showing vulnerability now? You promised you would never back down." And for that clarity, I'm thankful. I won't stand here and give you what you want. I won't offer you tears resembling disappointments like you thrive on pain, on fear, and on the illusion of power. And I won't feed your beast.
Wow.
Instead, I will call you what you are: sociopath, psychopath, murderer. I will ask the questions that reverberate violently in my own head, so loudly that I can't think straight most any day.
Thank you, Mom.
Some of these might be familiar, so sit up straight when I talk to you.
I love it when
Your
she
life
says that.
right before you murdered my sisters. Did you prepare for the crime before leaving your apartment? Please detail what you were thinking and feeling at this time. Why did you choose my sisters? Before making your move, did you approach my sisters? Detail what you were thinking and feeling. Before leaving their home, is there anything else you did? How does it feel to know the only thing you failed more miserably at than being a murderer is trying to be a rapper? Did you recently start shaving or manually pulling out your eyebrows? Why November 13th?
I love
Did
this.
you truly think your Amazon purchase was untraceable because you used a gift card? How do you find it enjoyable to stargaze with such a severe case of visual snow? Where is the murder weapon? The clothes you wore that night? What did you bring into the house with you? What was the second weapon you used on Kaylee? What were Kaylee's last words? Please describe in detail the level of anxiety you must have felt when you heard the Bearcat pull up to your family home on December 30th, 2022. Which do you regret more? Returning to the crime scene 5 hours later, or never, ever going back to Moscow, not even once, after stalking them there for months?
See, he
If you
was
were really
talking
smart,
then.
do you think you'd be here right now? What's it like needing this much attention just to feel real? You're terrified of being ordinary, aren't you? Do you feel anything at all? Or are you exactly what you always feared? Nothing. If you're so powerful, then why are you still hiding, defendant? You see, I'm here today as me. But who are you? Let's try to take off your mask and see. You didn't create devastation. You revealed it in yourself. And that darkness you carry, that emptiness, you'll sit with it long after this is over. That is your sentence. And it was written on the wall long before you ever pled guilty. You didn't win. You just exposed yourself as the coward you are. You're a delusional, pathetic, hypochondriac loser who thought you were so much smarter than everybody else.
She did so
Constantly
good.
scolding, turning your nose up to grammar mistakes, nitpicking and criticizing others. You wanted so badly to be different, to be special, to be better, to be deep, to be mysterious. You found yourself thinking you were better than everyone else, and you thought you could figure out the human psyche and see through it, all while tweaked out on heroin. Lurking in the shadows made you feel powerful because no one ever paid you any attention in the light. You thought you were exceptional, all because of a grade on a paper. You thought you were elite because your online IQ test from 2010 told you so. All of that seemed important. It's desperate. There is a name for your condition, though. Your inflated ego just didn't allow you to see it. Wannabe. You act like no one could ever understand your mind, but the truth is you're basic. You're a textbook case of insecurity disguised as control. Your patterns are predictable. Your motives are shallow. You are not profound. You're pathetic. You aren't special or deep, not mysterious or exceptional. Don't ever get it twisted again. No one is scared of you today. No one is intimidated by you. No one is impressed by you. No one thinks that you are important. You orchestrated this like you thought you were God. Now look at you, begging a courtroom for scraps. You spent months preparing, and still all it took was my sister in a sheath. You work so hard to seem dangerous, but real control doesn't have to prove itself. The truth is, the scariest part about you is how painfully average you turned out to be. The truth is, you're as dumb as they come. Stupid, clumsy, slow, sloppy, weak, dirty. Let me be very clear. Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your fucking ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that. She did amazing. She's such a good big sister. Okay, we're going to read one or two more of the documents, and then we're going to continue with them tomorrow. Like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of them, so he won't last 1 year in prison. He takes himself out. He takes himself out or someone takes him out. Yeah, I don't think people are going to like him very much. Okay, this is from Detective or Officer Aaron Morris. On 11/15, redacted came to Moscow PD substation to speak with Officer Rosinski and I regarding an incident possibly related to a homicide that occurred on 11/13. They stated on October 21st, an unidentified white male came into the women's center and asked to speak to someone. Redacted spoke to the male. She stated he asked for snacks and appeared to be under the influence. She stated the interaction only lasted about 5 minutes. Redacted stated the male said he had a female friend who was in an abusive relationship. The male stated he was afraid the female would be hurt by her boyfriend and also afraid he would hurt the boyfriend due to the abusive behavior. Redacted did not gather any names and had never seen the male before. I asked both Redacted and Redacted if they had any contacts with any of the victims. They said they did not, and they did not have any of their contacts documented. On November 15th at approximately 11:50 hours, Redacted and Redacted came into the substation to speak with me. I was told by Corporal Payne, Redacted went to Gritman on 11/13 to seek medical care for cuts on his hand. I asked Redacted what happened to his hand. He stated that on 11/12 at around 2,000 hours, he cut his hand and it's 2,800 hours, cut his hand attempting to cut chicken for a sandwich. Redacted stated he was intoxicated and he was trying to cut the meat with his pocket knife and slipped and cut his hand. I asked when he went to the hospital. He said he read his wristband from the hospital and he said he went in on 11/13 at 1,400 hours. Redacted told me he lived at the Redacted house. The laceration was on his right hand. He sent me a photograph of the injury and I attached it to the case. I asked Redacted if he knew any of the victims. He stated he had seen Ethan 2 times at parties but did not know any of the females. He said the Redacted sister house was Redacted. He said it was national standard, but he had friends from multiple sororities. If they put him in isolation, he won't survive. Right. Oh, thank you, Nikki Lynn. You're so sweet. Thank you for being here. So who is this person and why was he cutting? Did you see chicken? Why was he cutting the chicken? The chicken. No, I'm just kidding. The laceration was on his right hand. He asked me a photograph of the injury and I attached it to the case. Oh, I already read this. Redacted ran me through his weekend from Saturday morning. He stated he slept in Saturday morning, 11:12, and woke up around 9:30 hours. Redacted said he went to the treehouse, which was a redacted outhouse located at redacted Taylor Avenue. He said he spent the whole day there watching the game. He said he left the treehouse at around 19:30 hours and went back to redacted Elm Street. He said he was drinking all night and finally went to bed on November 13th at around 0400 hours. Redacted said he was with his friends, redacted and redacted and redacted all night. He also provided me redacted's phone number. Officer Rosinski talked to redacted later at the house. Redacted said he and redacted were walking down the stairs at the house when redacted missed a step and fell into the window. Redacted said at the time neither he or redacted saw any blood. Redacted said he was cutting chicken and he saw the injury. According to redacted, redacted was also extremely intoxicated and he cut his hand while cutting the chicken, but redacted believed he cut it on the glass. So whoever these people, friends of them are, they were hella drunk at some point, because that cutting chicken, no more like you were drunk and probably fell. Or maybe you were cutting chicken with a pocket knife. Don't do that. Redacted said he was willing to sign a consent form for medical records if we needed them. Redacted said he could not remember if he cut his hand on the window or with the knife. Oh, so there we go. Who is this person? Redacted said his friends told him to go to the hospital to make sure there was not glass in his hand. I went with Redacted to the house. He showed me the window they found broken. I photographed the window and attached it to the case. On 11/16, I responded to Redacted at Main Street. The person of interest by the name of Redacted lived at Redacted. Redacted confirmed she lived at the unit alone. They said they did offer free internet service to tenants through Redacted. Redacted said they could not see who used their service. I asked Redacted if any of their tenants tried to get out of their leases recently. They said no. They said Redacted started his lease on 7/18. The employer remembered Redacted because his father was adamant on getting him the apartment. I responded to Redacted to see if Redacted utilized the internet service they provided. The employee gave me a paper with all the tenants from Redacted Queen Road that used it. Redacted did not use the service. So they were like trying to find out, like track this person. Because the whole chicken thing. I wonder if he will be. Yeah, he probably will be. On 11/16, I was asked to follow up with the individuals connected to the victims or the people of interest. The names provided were redacted and redacted. There's a lot of people named redacted here. I'm sorry, guys, they redacted the names. I called the Dean of Students office for phone numbers for redacted and redacted, but I called first, who stated he was at his home in Boise. Redacted and redacted stated they lived together in Meridian. I passed the information on to Corporal Barrett. I also TLO'd redacted and redacted. I got a number for redacted and called him. He provided his home address in Boise and said he was willing to speak with the detectives. I forwarded that information as well as a TOL of redacted to Corporal Payne and Corporal Barrett. On 11/16, redacted and redacted from the DOS office came to the ISUB. Redacted stated he had information regarding the homicide. Redacted first stated that the DOS office had a debrief to check in on everyone. Redacted said Redacted's name was brought up. He said it got him thinking because Redacted had a recent care report put in on him. On 11/3, Redacted emailed the DOS saying, had a few circumstances in my life that have substantially decreased my mental health. What? Who is this? On 11/14/22, Redacted called Redacted. Redacted with the name of S said Redacted seemed distant, distracted, and sad. Redacted also brought up the grub truck video. He said he was guessing he believed it was Dylan following the victims and hovering. Someone with a D, not Dylan. Following the victims and hovering over them. Redacted also said after finding out what happened, Redacted was more concerned with his dog. Oh, it's a male. I thanked Redacted for the information. I asked Redacted if he was able to provide care reports for Redacted they referenced. Redacted said they did not seem hugely concerning, but would attempt to gather them. I wonder who that name is with the D. This is just one page, and this is from John Lawrence. This is a supplemental report from him. We're going to read a few. Yeah, I'm curious. Did you guys see the mugshot of Bryan? He looks scary. He's scary. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna read this one and then we'll continue. Well, I want to finish the book. We're either gonna do the documents or the book tomorrow. If not, whatever I don't finish, we'll finish on Saturday. This is from John Lawrence. On 11/15, when I arrived at work, I had several voicemails on my desk phone. I began reviewing the voicemails. Most of the voicemail were tips on the current homicide investigation. Many of the tips were about the live feed from the grub truck. Throughout the day, I fielded several calls from people with possible information they believed to be maybe of importance to the investigation. I received a call from Redacted, who told me she was at the corner club with two of the victims, Madison and 𝐞𝐤𝐥𝐿, the night prior to the murders. She told me there was a college-aged male known by Madison. Redacted told me the male was wearing a black and white flannel shirt with a black shirt underneath that had writing in white letters that said antisocial. Redacted told me the college-aged male who had been identified as Redacted was acting creepy. She said he was not engaging people in conversation and he was just staring at the girls in the group she was with. Redacted told me Redacted had been grabbing girls by the butt and being handsy. Redacted said she confronted Redacted and told him to stop touching girls appropriately or she would have him kicked out of the bar. At one point, Madison introduced her, Redacted, to Redacted and told her she knew him. Redacted said she let her guard down a little when it came to Redacted and was later told by Madison that she only knew Redacted through class and a group project in which they worked on together. Redacted said a short time later that Redacted was kicked out of the bar. It does start with a B. Is that Bryan? No way. She had a group project with him? But I thought that can be possible, right? Because they're saying she didn't have any connection to him. A short time later, I took a call from Redacted. Redacted told me he works at Redacted, and Redacted said he's a regular customer by the name of Redacted who comes in almost every day. Redacted says Redacted makes everyone feel insecure because of the way he acts and the dark things he says. Redacted told me Redacted lives in the area of the homicides. I looked up to Redacted in Spillman and it shows an address on Conestoga. Redacted has numerous involvements with MPD over the last 2 decades, some of which relate to possible mental health issues. I'm going to go through and try to find out who these names are. This name starts with a P, some of which related to possible mental health issues. There was a lot of statements from a lot of people, I'm just realizing. Like, this is really crazy because we've seen the grub truck video. Yeah, this is wild. We ended up on 17, so we're left off on 17. Yo, there's like 50 of just in this folder. So I'm going to go through and make sure that maybe I'll try to get the names before. So I'm not saying like redacted. These are just the way that they were from the courts. I also heard that they already started taking them down, but I have them all saved. So even if the court does take them down, BK went to Washington State. Yeah. Even if they do take them down, I will still have them. So this live has already gone on for a while. Like I said, I am reading the Bryan Kohberger book as well. We have one more video, one more live on that, and then I shall finish these documents as well. I want to get through all of them. Make sure you guys check out the playlist. Make sure you guys go and follow my TikTok. I'm going to go live on there right now. And we just chilled there. So I appreciate you guys for being here and watching the content. Make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. And like I said, turn on your notifications. We will be back with Bryan Kohberger tomorrow and this weekend. And I have a few other cases that we're going to be catching up on. And make sure you hit the like button on the way out. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.